భగవద్గీతలో నిర్వహణ మెళకువలు అనే అంశం గురించి శ్రీ విద్యానికేతన్, తిరుమల తిరుపతి దేవస్థానముల సంయుక్త ఆధ్వర్యంలో 2 రోజుల జాతీయ సదస్సు మే నెల 28, 29వ తేదీల్లో చిత్తూరు జిల్లా తిరుపతి సమీపం రంగంపేటలోని శ్రీ విద్యానికేతన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఆఫ్ మేనేజ్మెంట్లో జరిగింది. భగవద్గీతలోని వివిధ అంశాలు వ్యక్తిని పరిపూర్ణుడిగా చేస్తాయని, ఇందులోని అంశాలను అర్థం చేసుకుంటే ఎటువంటి ఆందోళనలు, భయాలు ఉండవని సదస్సులో ప్రసంగించిన ప్రముఖ వక్తలు పేర్కొన్నారు. ఈ సదస్సుకు దేశవ్యాప్తంగా వివిధ విద్యాలయాల నుండి విద్యార్థులు, వివిధ కార్యాలయాల నుండి మేనేజర్లు సదస్సులో పాల్గొన్నారు. ఈ సదస్సు విశేషాలు సమగ్రంగా మీకోసం.
By killing teachers, grandfather, 2 generation this side, 2 generation that side, close friend, this, that. What are we going to get out of this? Nothing. This is absolute nonsense. This is what he started thinking. Etan na hantum ichami gnatopi, even if I am killed. Even if I am killed, I will not kill them, because if they can make a mistake, they can do wrong things. My choice is mine to do right thing or wrong thing. That you can't take it away from me. That's why even if they kill me, that's all right with me. Because I don't want to do that. Right? Api Trailoki Rajyasya Hetuhu. Even if the root, the final cause why we are doing is Trilokasya Adhipatya. I am the lord of the 3 lokas. Even if you give me that, this is so bad that I don't want that kind of a sukha. I don't want that. Okay? Nihatya Dhartarashtran ka preeti syat. What preeti will I have? My heart will be stained with blood. There is not even an iota of preeti that will be in my heart. Therefore I don't need it. So the first argument he makes is, I have no motivation for war. And as a CEO, as a leader, if I don't have motivation, how can you go forward? Is the first question. So he says, Papameva ashrayet asmat hatva etan atatayinah. They may be atatayinas, but then by killing I only get sin. I don't want to collect sin. By killing these people, I will collect my debit balance, no credit balance, so I don't need it. So I will just leave it. So that is the first argument he made. Then let's see what he says. Then he says, are you not happy with this argument? I will make another argument now. I will tell you why it is so improper to get into a war like this. He says, Tasmat narharha vayam hantum dhartarashtran swabhandavan. He poses a question. Swajanam hi katam hitva suknasyama. Tell me, how can somebody can be happy by killing their own people? It's very inappropriate. It's very inappropriate. How can anybody be happy by killing their own people? He poses a question. Back to Krishna. Swajanam hi katam hatva sukinasyama madhava. Yadyapi ete na pashyanti. They are not seeing this truth. That's their problem. Yadyapi ete na pashyanti. Lobat. Why? Because lobat apahrita chetasaya. They are stolen away. Their heart and their thinking power is stolen away by loba. These fellows have been so short-sighted. So they lost their balance. That's their problem. But I am seeing it. And it is inappropriate to me. Kulakshaya kritam dosham mitra dohe chapa. Why it is inappropriate? Kulakshaya happens. Mitra droha. He is my close friend. I am doing droha for him. Mitra droha. Katam na jneyam asmabihi papat asmat nivartitum. How can I get out of I can commit the sin now. How am I going to get out of it? It will not leave me. It is not something which will just erase my memory. It will, in fact, if you read Mahabharata, that is the best part. The Moksha Dharma, the Anusashana Parva, because this is really haunting them. That's why such a beautiful conversation comes between Yudhishthira and Bhishma. Because this is reality. They went through what he is saying here for a different reason. So all that he said, Kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyadbihi janardana. So it is very, very difficult to get out of this. Therefore it's all but inappropriate. So let's not do it. That's the second argument. You are not happy with the argument? He made a third argument. That's even stronger. What was the third argument? The third argument was, he said, he actually showed how war can create, Varna Sankara is the word, but then the correct, in the context that we are talking, is, he says, war can create such an imbalance in the society. These are all fact. What he is saying are all fact actually in a way. In one level, Krishna has overpowered all of them with a much bigger picture. That's the charm of Bhagavad Gita anyway. But at this level, this looks so convincing. See what he is saying. He is saying, Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharmaha sanatanaha. All these, rules of the game will all get destroyed. Okay? Dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmaha abhibhavati uta. So, lot of wrongdoings will pop up in the society. It happens in all war-ravaged societies. He is not talking hypothetically. He is actually telling something which we are also seeing today in a way. Adharmat abhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyah. Pradushyanti kulastriyah. The ladies will become insecure. They will be abused. Whether it is a Rajputana war or by the invading Mughals, everywhere you will find this. This story has been there throughout and is continuing also. That is what he is talking about. Varna Sankaraha, he says, Jayate Varna Strishu Dushtasu Varshneya. Jayate Varna Sankara will happen. Then of course he also talked about, he buttressed the argument so powerfully from many dimensions. He said, Sankaro Narakayeva Kulagnanam Kulasyacha Patanti Pitaro Hi Yesham Lupta Pindodaka Kriya. You can't offer Pinda, all your karmas will get destroyed, so you will fall into Naraka. If you have a belief in that, then that argument also I will give. All that he said. Doshaihi etaihi, so all those doshas which he has counted. And what is he saying? Varna Sankara Karakaihi, Utsadyante Jati Dharmaha, Kula Dharmascha Shashvataha. We will permanently destroy the social equilibrium. This is the argument. Permanently we will destroy the social equilibrium. So he said, these are all the things that will happen. We will create such a ruckus in the society. Do we need it? Very powerful argument actually. Okay? So all that he says, it's not a thing, we are all go to Naraka only because we have been root cause of all this. Therefore this is not a great arguments are getting stronger. After that he did something astonishing. We have come to the end of the chapter, 3 more shlokas. He did something astonishing. You will see what he did, which Sanjaya narrates actually. After saying all these, he said, Aho, alas, Bata Mahat Papam, I am tied into doing a great sin. Ato Bata Mahat Papam Kartum Vyavasita Vayam. We have gotten into this act of doing something which is bad, which is totally wrong. Okay? Why did we do? Rajya Sukha. Just for the sake of a country, we want to destroy our own personal values, our own standards of what we should do and so on. All that we did, and we decided to kill our own people. Swaganam, Janam Udyuta Hantum. Swajanam Hantum Udyutaha. We have now gotten onto this journey of killing our own people. He said also these thoughts are all overwhelming him. Then what he did? Then he said a statement which no warrior worth the salt will ever make a statement. You know what he said? Look at what he is saying. Idi mam apratikaram. I have Gandiva is gone. I am defenseless now. Bhishma has anyway blown the conch and all of us have blown the conch. Technically the war has started. That is the rules of the game. I don't have anything with me. Mam apratikaram ashastram. I don't have shastra with me. Whereas what is happening to Dhritarashtra's side? Shastra Panaya, they are all ready. They are all waiting to kill. They are all set because the conch has blown. Shastra Panaya Dhartarashtraha, all the other people, if they kill me here, that is the best thing to happen. A great warrior says, I want to be killed. All of us have this in our personal life. There are times at which we want to abandon our role. As a father I do, as a member of my organization I do, as a member of a social organization, there are occasions when I say, I want to just fade to the background. That is what he is expressing here. He is completely given up his role. He says, if somebody, I am now defenseless, one fellow kills me, my problem is solved, I will go. Let others do whatever they want to do. It's what is called lack of role clarity or even completely cluttered. He did all that, happy to get killed. And then our commentator comes, Sanjaya. He is seeing all this happening. So he says, what did Arjuna do after all this? He says, Evam Uktva, having said like that, Arjuna, what did he do? Sanke Ratopasta Upavishad, with great vishada, with great confusion in his mind and strain of his thought and so on, he just sat on the. If you have to put a photo or something like that, he will be putting his hand like this and sitting hopelessly in the. Something like that you can imagine. right? Visrijya Shasharam, he dropped everything. Visrijya Shasharam Chapam, Shoka Samvignam, he is full of Shoka. He is engulfed in Shoka. This is how chapter 1 ends. Now what Krishna did, in boxing there is something called knockout punch. In Bhagavad Gita you have what is called reverse knockout punch. What it means is when somebody falls, you push him and make him get up. I call it as reverse knockout punch. In boxing, knockout punch means I hit and you fall. Here what Krishna did was when this fellow sat, he actually gave him a punch. He said, get up. Tyaktva, Klaibyam Masma Gamapartha. Chapter 2 starts like that. Aswargiyam, all that he says. He says, you are like a eunuch. He said, what happened to you? Etat tvayi na upapadyate. Klaibyam Masya Gamapartha, etat tvayi na upapadyate. Tyaktva hridaya daurbalyam, tyaktva uttishta parantapa. Get up. What's happening to you? You are like a eunuch. He really gave, so Shloka 2 and 3 are that in chapter 2. He really punched him and said, get up. What are you doing? Our friend got up and let us see 4th Shloka we'll see. I have tell this to go to 4th Shloka. Let's see what he says in 4th Shloka. He now got up. Because Krishna really told him, get up. What are you doing? And see what he is saying now in the 4th Shloka. Katam Bhishma Maham Sankhe Dronam Chama. How can I kill Bhishma and Drona? He started the same story again. Right? He said, oh, how can I kill Bhishma and Drona? Puja Arhava Arisudana. They are worthy of worship. How do I actually kill them? It's not possible. How can I kill them? Correct? And then he says, Guru Nuhatva hi Mahanubhavan Shreyo Bhoktum Bhaikshima Pihalo. I'm killing all these gurus, great gurus. And then with that blood-stained thing you want to enjoy the kingdom? No, it will not work. So, Arjuna has completely destroyed his... Arjuna is... So, the question I ask is Arjuna a leader or not? Is Arjuna a leader or not a leader? This is a question that comes in front of us now. Because there are people who tell different things. Let me tell you all that. Now they say, no sir, what he has done is right. Because after all, all that he said is all making sense. So look at this situation. Now we have to understand what was this war. If you read Bhagavad Gita, if you read Mahabharata, you will find Pandavas never wanted to fight the war. Not even Krishna. 3 times they went on emissary, and that has been dramatized so well in the Kavya. They said, what has happened? 2 things have happened. They played a game of dice and they lost. Story goes like that. They played a game of dice and lost their entire fortune. Now to return it back, there are 2 conditions. 12 years and then Ajñātavasa, all those. They have done all that and then they have come back. Although there was a bit of controversy, they were also resolved amicably. It's difficult to create that controversy. So a head of a country, a head of a Nayaka, a leader, if I had used modern judiciary term, there are 2 things that happen. One is blatant violation of contract. This was a contract. Duryodhana put a contract. And they fulfilled the contract. He had no business but to give back. That was the first mistake. Blatant violation of a contract. Law of contract, we can put them behind the bars. In modern judiciary terms. Point 1. Point 2. The second mistake Duryodhana did was, he was grossly unreasonable. He is not unreasonable. He was grossly unreasonable. How did he know that? The Kavya so beautifully portrays it. They said, give me 5 grama. Give me 5 houses. Then it says, I will not even give you the tip of the needle. And these are all the dramatized version to say that when a leader blatantly violates contract and is grossly unreasonable, that leader must go at any cost. Otherwise, the country is in great danger. So to say, to Senayor Ubbayor, so they did not jump to the war straight away. You have to understand that. 3 times they went for emissary, 2 times they went, and then finally Sanjaya came. That 3rd time when Sanjaya came, not Arjuna, Krishna blasted him. The Vidura Niti came out of it. It's such a beautiful context there. Sanjaya came, Krishna blasted them. He said, get lost. Nothing, only war. Now Dhritarashtra, this Sanjaya comes back. Evening he comes. Dhritarashtra, he came and then met Dhritarashtra. He said, I went and met. Things are not good enough. But anyway, in the court, I will tell you tomorrow morning what it is. This Dhritarashtra doesn't get sleep. He calls Vidura. He calls Vidura and says, I am not getting, it's beautiful to read Vidura Niti. He calls Vidura and says, I don't get sleep, what do I do? He says, there are 6 reasons why people will not get sleep. Which category do you belong? That's how Vidura Niti starts. The point I am making, 700 shlokas. Again, it's a pearl. It is really one of the muktikas of Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata is Vidura Niti. He says there are 6 reasons people will not sleep. Which category do you belong to? Then he goes on to explain the entire Niti. So the point is, the war was not a knee-jerk reaction. The war was a considered thought. For a long time they wanted to avoid. Then this fellow was blatantly unreasonable, blatantly violating contract. Such people cannot head any society. That's not right. Kshatriya Dharma demands you have to eliminate them. So this war was not a knee-jerk reaction. To say that all these people will die and all those are foolish talk. So if you look at it from that perspective, what Arjuna did was grossly wrong. Now the question is, why did he do? Why did he fail? So in that sense he failed. Although he is a leader, he failed. The most important point I want to make is, by no trace of rationality and thinking, I could have agreed Arjuna sitting like this, last shloka in chapter 1. That's not allowed. That's what has happened now. So the question is, what happened here? And what is missing? With all our leadership, if you take modern leadership literature, Arjuna will score 100 on 100 with that literature. Yet here he is scoring 0 on 100 on his leadership trait. So let's first analyze a little bit of this and then see what, so Bhagavad Gita, therefore, look at the situation, look at the story. A great leader is buckling under pressure, says, I want to run away, if people kill me, I will be the most happiest person. From that, we have reached the stage in this story of Mahabharata where he finishes off everybody and then returns triumphant. So in between that, what happened was Bhagavad Gita. So I am sure there must be leadership lessons in Bhagavad Gita also, amongst other things. Otherwise this transformation would not have been possible, given that frame of mind. So we will also see that, a little bit of that. So let's first analyze what's happening. These were the 4 I showed, I have summarized them here. He brought forth 4 major arguments. He said, I have no motivation for war. If I am supposed to be the leader, if I don't have motivation, the case is closed. Where is the case for it? Then he said, happiness is not guaranteed. Sojanam hi katam hatva sukhinasyama madhava. How can you be happy killing your own people? Happiness not guaranteed. Second argument. Third argument, varna sankara karakaihi. Kula dharma, pranashta sashvataha, forever. So war creates bigger problem. That was the third argument. Fourth argument was, how can I kill people who are worthy of worship? It's an impractical idea. How can anybody kill somebody who is worthy of worship? Pujarho arisudana, katam bhishmam aham sanke dronam cha madhusudana. How can you kill somebody who is worthy of worship? Now in my long years of consulting, I have been quite actively consulting the business. I find in chapter 1, in addition to leadership lessons, another biggest lesson which I have had for my own is, I found this Krishna is the topmost consultant I have ever seen in my life. So you will ask me, how do you say that? So I will show you how I see him also gives me ideas on management consulting. That's also there in chapter 1. I will show you a little bit of that. And then we will return to the leadership story anyway. This is what I have found in all my consulting. What happens is, there is a problem. The company faces a problem. Okay? A difficult situation. The leader, the head or the CEO confronts a very difficult situation. In fact, in most of the situations, he knows the solution. Not consultant in a very lighter vein. The definition of a consultant is, he will come, pick your watch, look at the time and tell you the time, collect his fees and go. This is one definition for consultant. He will come and say, give me your watch, look at the time and tell you it is 2:30 and collect money for it and go. What I'm saying is, in a lot of business situations, the CEO knows the solution. In a vast majority, not in all, but in a vast majority he knows. He knows solution, but he knows it is difficult to implement. And the arguments are all very convincing. This is exactly what Arjuna has done. Chapter 1 is summarized in this. What did Arjuna do? Arjuna knew the solution. Arjuna knew the problem. Arjuna knew the solution. He found it very difficult to implement. So he started arguing why it should not be done. And beautiful arguments. But each one of that argument it is very hard to shoot down. Huh? So my own understanding is, a true consultant is one who is able to get you out of this vicious circle. The real consultant is one who is able to make sure you are not trapped like this, pull you out and put you elsewhere, so that really progress happens. That vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya actually happens. You discard the idea and then move on to the next idea. That is what Krishna did. So I see Krishna as a great consultant also. In the management parlance, of course. Yeah. So they try to maintain status quo or avoid tough decisions. This is how most organizations are. It's only a high performance organization which knows how to step out of this, because they look very convincing. The arguments are so convincing that it is very hard to shoot it down. So, better maintain status quo. Krishna actually came and broke that. Krishna came and actually broke that. Because Arjuna was towing this line. In a way, if you look at it. So chapter 1 also tells us what happens when we face crisis in life. Arjuna faced a sort of a crisis. Who said we won't face crisis? We will all face crisis. It is only Indian literature which says that, in fact, the most powerful teaching in Bhagavad Gita is what is called Titiksha. Titiksha is the most powerful teaching. The most powerful, if you take Ramayana, each kanda of Ramayana has a very powerful message. If you read it from that perspective, or if you are able to see that message, you have got more than the story. Ayodhya Kanda, I always tell all youngsters compulsorily must read Ayodhya Kanda. Why? Ayodhya Kanda, what is the central message? The central message in Ayodhya Kanda is life is full of ups and downs. 19th Sarga of Ayodhya Kanda, you must see, Valmiki was such a great poet. He portrayed Rama not as God. Because if he portrayed him as God, we will all say he is God, that's why he behaved like that. He is God. He never did that. He portrayed him as a human being. He portrayed Rama as a human being. In the 19th Sarga, the day before the Pattabhisheka, late night, Sumantra comes and calls Rama. That time, Valmiki, the way he explains, he tells Sita, Valmiki brings enormous mood into the story. So, Valmiki says, Rama is telling Sita, father, all preparations are ready. Father looks like he has forgotten some small little thing. So he has called me to just discuss that. See his mood. He is going to become this Chakravarti tomorrow. That mood will come if you read it. So he says, father looks like he has forgotten something. So he has called, you play with your friends, I will come. Late night. You just spend time with your friends, I will come. So he goes. There he was asked to go to the forest. When he comes back, Valmiki, you should see how it is. First question Sita asks is, why is your face so pink? What happened to you? Rama was pouring emotion. He was a human being. Valmiki portrayed him as a human being. 53rd Sarga, after 34 Sargas, he says, I didn't sleep the last night. Not a minute I got. He couldn't take this. He couldn't take the defeat of not getting the kingdom. Like that. Then 98th Sarga, Bharata comes, Bharata gets to know all these, he comes with his army and all that. The two brothers have a conversation. It's a must read. 98th Sarga to, I think, 107th or 100, about 10, 12 Sargas. Wonderful conversation. Bharata says, take the kingdom. Rama says, no. Such a beautiful conversation between the two brothers. Wonderful conversation. Vasishta comes finally. Vasishtha gives a long list of Ikshvaku race in which the eldest son is the king, eldest son is the king. In some other place when Rama said Guru is important, here he just choose Vasishtha out. He says, father's word is more important than Guru, get lost. Like that he says. The ups and downs in life. Ups and downs in life, if you want to understand, you should read Ayodhya Kanda. It's called Titiksha. Anyway, I will talk about it in my leadership. This is one important message in Bhagavad Gita, I will come to it. So anyway, what it says is, all of us go through crisis, and what happens? First we develop lack of clarity. You can think about your own personal crisis in life, which has happened, which is going to happen, you will see this. Lack of clarity of either the problem or the solution. Lack of discrimination. Nitya anitya vastu vichara will go. That's called viveka. We become aviveki, not viveki. Lack of discrimination. Nitya anitya vastu vichara will go. That's the second step. We will become less questionable about we will not ask challenging questions. We will become less questionable about mindset. We will become more defensive. Arjuna exhibited all these in chapter 1. In this lens you can read these shlokas. He became more defensive. He was arguing, this will happen, that will happen, my brother should not be killed, my grandfather, all kinds of things he brought. He became more defensive. Hridaya daurbalya, faint-heartedness. When I say Hridaya daurbalya, Hridaya is not this. It is not this pathological device called heart. In Vedanta, heart does not mean only in medicine, heart means this. In Vedanta, heart means, just think about this possibility. You ask anybody from any part of the world, whatever language, whatever demographics, whatever age, moment they say I, their hand will go only here. It doesn't, shortest path algorithm should take you here. Or somebody doesn't say I like this. When you say I, you go to a position. That is Hridaya. In other words, your soul rests there. So this Hridaya Daurbalya means that Hridaya, not this, this heart. That's what the doctors worry about. So faint-hearted means your existence inside is challenged, shaky. Your soul is now wobbling. The reference point of the flow. So that is what Hridaya Daurbalya. That's why he said, Tyaktva Hridaya Daurbalyam Uttishta Parantapa. The reverse knockout punch which I was talking about. And then we make bad decisions. This also you will see in chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. You can see this trace of events.